Thanks for watching this screencast. This screencast is for the practice learning target that we're going to work on at the beginning of Algebra II Honors. The objectives for this screencast there are two of them. Learners will be able to access the TI-84 from the Chromebook, and learners will be able to perform basic calculations with the TI-84. Okay, so what you see here is the class website. This is on my website, bowmanrhs.weebly.com. I already clicked on the Algebra II Honors link up here in the top right corner. You might want to pause the video just for a second and do that as well. Hopefully you're there now. And if I scroll down here, I'm going to show you the link to where you can find and then always keep the link to the online TI-84 calculator. So if we scroll down here past the syllabus, the list of learning targets, right here there's a link that says iStep Plus Practice Form Online TI-84. And that's what you're looking for. If you click that link, what's going to pop up is the same screen you see at the beginning of all of the iStep testing that you have done in your past. The state of Indiana has left for us a link to a practice version of that iStep interface. What will happen if you, anytime you need to use a TI-84 calculator, it's on this screen. What I'm going to recommend you do, if you haven't done it already, is to go up here. Mine is already filled in because I've already bookmarked this. But to go ahead and click on this star if you're on your Chromebook, and that will create a bookmark for the page you have here. So if you want to always have quick access to this, probably an easy thing for you to do is to create that bookmark so that you can quickly get there. And then once you've got that bookmark, click Start. And what you're going to see is a screen that looks a lot like the iStep testing interface you've used in the past. This is essentially designed to allow students to practice using the iStep testing system. The nice thing about that, though, is if you see up here along the top, all of the tools that are integrated into that browser are available for you to use. And the one that we need quick access to is the graphing calculator. So if you click this here, it'll pop up for you. And here's the thing we're looking for. Now, what you may know from using this previously for testing windows is you can drag and move that thing around the window as need be. I can't demonstrate it here on the video, but if you're on your Chromebook, you could actually lay your Chromebook flat into tablet mode and then, pinch in or zoom out with two fingers to make it as big or as small as you want to have it. Also, you need to know that this online one is on by default, but if you're going to use one of our classroom TI-84s, it's not going to be on by default. The way to turn it on is to click this button here where it says on. If you're using one of our classroom set of TI-84s and you want to turn it off, thankfully, to keep the battery safe, once you're done using the calculator, you'll need to hit the second button here, and then the on button becomes off. And that's something that in general you need to know about using this calculator too, is that there are some functions on this calculator that are only accessible if you click the second button first. They usually show up in the same color as the second button. So on the online calculator, the second button is blue, so everything that's on a button but up in the top left corner in blue is accessible if you hit the second button first and then press that button. So this calculator will perform those four basic operations for you, and they're here along the right side above the Enter key. So I can add, subtract, multiply, or divide. If I want to take 23 and add it to 86, it's pretty simple to do that. The way to get your entry, there's not an equals button, but Enter will always ask the calculator to compute that sum. If I need 30 minus 118, well, the calculator will do that too. Negative 88. While we're talking about negatives, it's an important distinction to make, is that there is a difference between the subtraction and the negative. So I'll show you real quick. If I needed to enter, let's say, negative 25 times 4. What should that be? That should be negative 100, right? And if I enter it using the negative key for a negative number, it'll give me that. Watch what happens if I try to use the minus instead. Whoops, let me try clearing it out. Well, one of the differences with the minus is it pops up the answer first. It's expecting an input before a minus. Okay. So it won't actually do that unless you use the negative key first. One thing that's important to know is that the division key, and I hope you can understand why this would work, should also be used for inputting fractions. If I want to know what 5/3 plus a half is, the quickest way to do that probably is to treat both of those fractions like divisions. And in typing something like this, the calculator is going to ask me what 5/3 plus 1/2 is. Now it comes out kind of a weird answer, right? That's a decimal, that's a repeating decimal. There is a way if you wanted to see that as a fraction to get it done. And the way to turn a decimal that can be converted into a fraction is to hit this math button here. And you're going to see a whole menu of options. Some of these we're going to use quite extensively this year in Algebra 2. The one you're looking for, though, thankfully, is the very first option here that says frac. If you click either the number 1 or hit enter, I'm going to hit enter. What the calculator says is, give me your last answer as a fraction. Is that what you want? And if it is, hit enter. And what you're getting is that number as a fraction. 13/6 is the sum of 5/3 and 1/2. The calculator will also do exponents. Suppose you need to know what 4 to the 7th power is. One way to do it would be to type 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, this is taking a while, times 4 times 4. That's one way to do 4 to the 7th. That's what 4 to the 7th means. But I hope you know it's probably going to be a lot quicker for us to actually use the key that allows for exponents. And that key is this little caret here, the same way you would likely input an exponent expression on the keyboard on a computer. So if you want 4 to the 7th, you can type in 4 and then hit this button here. And it will raise the cursor up and let you input the next number as an exponent. One thing that's important to know is that if you're using any kind of function that moves the cursor up or down, it might be helpful to get used to using the right arrow to get the cursor back down to the regular setting. And hitting enter will give me that value. There is a button on the calculator for squared, right here, the x squared button. If I need to know what 27 squared is, I could use the exponent button, the caret over here, to get it. But I could also just simply type 27 and hit the x squared button and get the same input. The calculator will also find square roots for you, and I hope you can see that the square root, the radical for the square root, is on the same button as the squared function. You just need to hit second first to access that next level. So if I need a square root of any number, I'll hit second and I'll hit the x squared button for the radical. If I need to know what the square root of 80 is, I hope you know it's almost 9 but not quite, I can do so. Okay, the last thing we want to show you in this screencast is kind of an added bonus, but in my experience I found it's the number one piece of advice I can give a student who gets frustrated trying to learn how to use this calculator early on. Let's say you hit a button that you did it by accident and it wasn't what you wanted to do, and you feel like you're stuck somewhere, or you don't know how to get out of this. How on earth do I get out of this menu here that I've hit? One thing I need you to know is that you can always get back to your main screen on the calculator by using this quit option up here. And the way to get that, of course, is to hit the second button and then hit the mode button next to it. So second and then mode will get me to this quit. Will always get you back to your main screen. It's been my experience that that is one of the primary fundamental things you need to understand about this calculator. You can't mess it up. You can't tear it up. If you get stuck in a menu that you're not sure how to use, or you're not sure what's going on, you can always get back to your main screen with second and then the mode button, which gives us quit. Thanks for watching.